welcome to How Do You Drew?
This is a Drew Barrymore podcast brought to you by thedrewseum.com.
And sponsored by our friends at Positive Medium.
I'm Anne.
And I'm Ashley.
And hello.
Hello. Roll out the red carpet. It's Oscar season.
Yes, it is. Welcome to episode 73. Yes, we have a lot at the top of the show right now. So let's jump in.
I know. I'm like, we're both so excited. We're talking over each other. I do want to mention, if you don't follow us on Instagram and you're like, what the heck? Why wasn't there a new episode last week? We did a Patreon exclusive Wedding Singer commentary track, which is a lot of fun. You don't even really have to watch it with the movie. I watched it in my car. I mean, I listened in my car to it and it was still enjoyable. So, you know.
That's great. And yes, thank you for bringing that up because, yeah, so this is episode 73. It looks like we missed a week, but there's content out there, guys. Check out our Patreon.
Patreon.com/howdoyoudrew.
Yes. And did you mention that that's included in the free patron member?
That's right.
Yes. So let's just reiterate that over and over again, guys. We have content over there that will be enjoyable to you if you're listening to us now. Like, just go back there and check it out. So let's get into some follow-ups. Let's start with some activity on our site that every once in a while, we're very curious about. So do you want to introduce this?
Yeah. Okay. So let's just set it up by saying that Drew went to Vegas, as we know. Didn't see me, but she did see Christina Aguilera and interviewed her for the show.
Priorities, Drew.
I know. Hello. And they were talking about kind of their like scandalous pasts and how they kind of balance that with their children now. And let's just hear what Drew has to say.
My daughter wants to wear a crop top. I'll say no, and she'll go, "You were on the cover of Playboy." And I'll go,
"She's already read. I love
that." Yes.
So, of course, this created like a bunch of news articles. Like, these news articles make me crazy. Yep. They're so dumb. Yep. But anyway.
And they're all the same.
All the same. Drew and Playboy is like in the ether. And now all of a sudden, again on our website, we get a massive influx of hits.
And, when we say massive, like, it's hard to kind of gauge, like, what that means. So, I mean, just think in your mind right now, like, what's a big number that seems like a lot of people visiting, like,
for a small little niche fan site. We're not like,
yeah, just a little Drewseum over here. So, yeah, some trivia for you. Just a measly 20,000 in the month of February.
Which is a lot. Like, if you looked at the graph for that page, it was like, when we first got our site back up, there were months that we got like 50 hits on that page. So, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, like through the roof.
The chart was hilarious.
Crazy. So thank you again to Playboy for always bringing people to our website. I don't know like what that translates into, but it's still always fun to see.
Totally. And if it brings people there, I hope they're clicking around and seeing some other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, thankfully that is like a jewel of a page, the 1995 Mags page.
Oh, yeah. You could just be on that page and have so much fun with it. So
yay for the Drewseum getting some hits.
Yeah, and yay for people still having interest in Drew's nudity. Yes. Guess that will never go away.
Yes. And we're, anytime we have one of these little influxes, it's fun to kind of like go like, what? And dig into it a little bit. So,
and we should mention we did cover Playboy in an episode just a few episodes ago. And we really dug into like the whole, not just the content of the magazine itself, but Drew's, like why Drew did it and what the reaction was, what she says about it now. And it's a pretty fun one. So go check that out. Do you know the episode number?
I don't.
I'll tell you, it is number 67.
Cool.
All right, moving along. What else we got?
So another follow-up. This is just a fun little random one. So we did an episode on guest ads, which is one of our like least listened to episodes, interestingly enough. I think people don't understand that it says guess and it doesn't mean like guess the topic. No, I think it's called like guess a modeling campaign. There's a set of the ads that are set right around this trailer. And is it part of the Salton Sea group?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's an ad that's part of the campaign. Drew is not in it, but there's the trailer in the background and a car in the front, and it says "Let's Rock" on the window, like written into the dust or the dirt on the car. I was very curiously just watching Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, the movie that was released in 1992, basically right before this set would have been
Yeah.
done.
I didn't even think about the timing.
And in lipstick on a dusty car, Let's Rock, written basically exactly the same. So we don't know who would have done this on the guest set. We never knew what it was from.
No, and it's so, like, I think we mentioned before to each other, they must have had a reference photo when they did it, because the handwriting is very, very, very similar. They definitely tried to copy the look of it.
Yes.
I mean, there's some things that are different
Yeah.
where you can tell it's not the exact same, but they tried.
But it's so similar.
Whoever they is.
Yes, whoever they are. What's so interesting is, like, I saw it immediately and went, what? And, like, I think your initial reaction was, wait, could that be the same car? Like, what is going on? Yeah. So if you've seen the film, the Twin Peaks film, put that, thing up side by side. It's crazy.
And we do have a slideshow to go along with this episode. So we'll probably put that on YouTube. We'll also link to the Google slideshow, and you can see this.
The side by side.
Like,
yeah, it's so cool.
So we always have an episode page on howdoyoudrew.com. Every episode gets like bonus content over there. So if you're ever curious what we're talking about and you want to see it, head that way.
Absolutely. Okay, so are we ready to talk about what Drew loved this week?
Oh, yeah, because there's a lot.
I love.
All right, let's get caught up. Drew loves. This is a long one at the beginning. Drew loves going from the irreverent and naughty to the truly wholesome, hopeful, and life-affirming.
That tracks. It really does.
Yeah. She loves a Galentine's.
I just assumed Galentine's Day because we're...
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Love bugs.
Does that just mean, like, people in love?
Yeah,
okay,
I guess.
That's cute.
White pepper.
Okay.
A sunroof.
Like in the Wienermobile.
That totally tracks. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll get to that. And then this one's a little different. Drew loves Adam Sandler's dramatic side.
Okay.
Yep. She loves collard greens.
Okay.
And then let's take a turn. She also loves flesh eating and blood.
Okay, Sheila. We hear you.
Yeah. It was related to that.
Okay.
She loves pasta, which somehow we never had on the list already.
We also love pasta.
Orlando, the city in Florida.
Okay.
She loves parsley.
Okay.
Catalogs and maps. And we kind of know that.
I wish I had the paper clip available right now.
Where she's rubbing maps all over her body. I love paper. Maps.
Yes.
Books. Magazines. Dictionaries.
I love paper. Okay.
Anyway, that was a fun one to end on.
Yes. Okay, so our Druism of the week. Let's get into that.
Oh yeah.
Those cool little isms that we do.
Okay, do you want to introduce this at all?
Let's do it. So, how did this come up? I think it was about euphemisms. Like, what can you say on daytime for body parts? That's
yes.
what it was. Okay, let's hear what Drew has to say.
Okay.
Drew, what's your favorite euphemism for the areas we can't name on PG-rated TV?
Well, we were playing for breast cancer awareness. We were playing this game about how to self-examine, and then I called these my little sausages. Is that because you're gay or because it didn't look good?
It looks great.
Yes to both.
Yeah, Ross was not a fan of that.
Must have made an expression because there's no sound, but it's like...
I think he looked a little grossed out, which I'm kind of with you, Ross. Little sausages, not so sure about that one, Drew.
Yeah, and then I made sure to pull for our slideshow a picture of Drew holding her little sausages. So if you want to enjoy that.
Circling full circle back to Playboy.
Exactly. Okay, so now we've reached the kind comments corner.
Oh, so this is where we pick out things that people say about Drew that are really sweet. Usually it's a comment that we see on Instagram, but this one was Demi Lovato on the Drew Barrymore show, and she had a really nice thing to say about Drew I thought we should share.
Yes.
Look up to you so much. You've overcome so much, and you have such strength. You exude such strength, and have this beautiful emotional capacity for just everyone that you encounter. And I just think that you're so special. And I'm honored to call you a friend.
So sweet.
Yeah, that emotional capacity for everyone you meet. That was the part where I was like, oh, that is so well said and so true.
I loved it. And I love that, like, was Drew on Demi Lovato's podcast and it was like really great?
Yes.
Yeah, like
yes, I forgot about
they've
that.
had some really cool like public conversations, and she seems
Yeah,
like a very
sorta
like emotionally aware person. Like I knew nothing about Demi
Mhm.
Lovato, really.
I think they've really connected on their sort of like child star past and, you know, just growing up in Hollywood and the ups and downs of that and drug use and all that kind of
Yes,
stuff.
so that was a kind comment. Thank you, Demi
Very
Lovato,
kind.
giving us the content that we like, that we agree with. We just put all the good, positive things here so we can go, yep, that's correct. More things about Drew. Okay, so tell me about what you pulled for this week in Drew history.
All right. Toodaloo, toodaloo. Sorry. I didn't mean to doodle-doo over the doodle-doo from Wayne's World, but there it is. All right, this week in Drew history. Again, let's put Drew in Las Vegas. Just being tortured here.
Are you just subconsciously pulling all of the Las Vegas content?
I know. What? Just won't stop. So she attended the Show West convention, exhibit, or thing, award show. Basically, it's for the theater owners. It's the National Association of Theater Owners. They used to do this. I think it is now called CinemaCon. I believe it's the exact same thing.
Okay.
I think they just renamed it. But so Drew was there with Tom Green. This was on March 8th and 9th of 2000. Mm-hmm. And the first teaser trailer of Charlie's Angels was shown, you know, to try to get the theater owners wanting to order it for their theater, I guess is how this works. So Drew came out with Cameron and Lucy, and Bill Murray was there, and they like showed this clip, I guess is kind of how it worked. Yep. And then they had the awards show that they also do. And it's kind of like, how can I put this nicely? The studios kind of set this up as like publicity for their people. Like,
so people patting themselves on the back a little bit.
Yeah. Drew and Adam got it at CinemaCon, like some sort of award, like female and male star of the year when A Blended was about to come out. Got it. That sort of thing. Got it. But anyway, so Drew was named the Comedy Star of the Year, and she was the first female to ever win that award, which is really cool.
That's cool.
I think Adam presented it to her. He was definitely there, but I couldn't like really
confirm that.
Pin that down as yeah. But then the really fun thing is that when Drew came out to collect this award, she did a cartwheel on stage.
Yes.
Like very well too.
That clipping of that is like so like ingrained in my mind. So when I was just like reading your notes, I was like, oh my God, I can picture it. Like it's such a fun moment.
It's so cute. I think I've seen it in video footage, like on something like on E or something. Aww. And yeah, it's just really fun and cute. And they were probably still filming Charlie's Angels. Like, it was early. So, yeah, I bet you they were. She has her red hair. And, like, she's kind of got that, like, even her clothes are sort of like what Dylan wears in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So awesome. All right. So, let's talk about what's new with Drew.
All right. So, we got to talk about these ads.
Yeah. How do we even get into this? So, I'll try to, like, introduce this a little bit. So, we, like a week ago, a little bit more maybe, we started getting inundated, truly inundated. And I know the reason we're getting inundated, I'll just say, is because I'm like clicking on all of them. I'm watching them all. Of
course, we're engaging with them.
Yes, so Drew started doing this collaboration advertisement campaign with Dr. Kellyanne, which I guess she maybe was already kind of a figure in the wellness world because I'm not familiar with her. Drew said she'd been following her. But she came out with this thing called And Me Peri Plus Menopause. It's like a supplement pill. And Drew is like in these videos.
So many videos.
Oh my God, so many. I mean, the entire like thing, if you find the entire one, it's like 35 minutes long. But there are so many different variations of this advertisement. Some that start with Drew just like, hey, let me come over here and
hey, I'm taking a break real quick off stage so I can talk to you about this. Or like, hey, what's in my bag?
Yeah.
Well, my cards and my headlamp, and of course my new supplement.
Yeah. They're very cute. I have a couple qualms. Like, it seemed like they had carte blanche to use like literally whatever they wanted from like the show and social media. So there's a lot of like reused stuff.
Yeah. There's weird stuff where she like looks all depressed. Like it's like a sad video that they pulled from her Instagram, and it's like, what's going on with Drew Barrymore's health? Very clickbaity. So that's weird. Oh, there we go. You have a bunch of examples.
Yeah, I pulled a bunch of screenshots. So if you check out our slideshow, I pulled a bunch because there's like lots of cute stuff of Drew, like the official stuff they seem to do for that. She's like wearing this like kind of, well, I guess there's a bunch of different outfits because there's all these interviews with different women and like with the doctor herself. And she has this mustard suit in a couple of them. And every time one of those came up, I was like, oh, cute. Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I pulled a couple of the clips. So you'll hear the audio. But of course, if you want to see the video, we have this slideshow. But so here's a little sample of what you can hear here.
Okay, I have been dealing with something, and you might be going through it too. Here's the thing, at some point, we're all going to go through it, and we have been keeping it secret too long, like afraid to talk about it because maybe it makes us feel older or unsexy. I don't know, but I have got good news. We don't need to fear it anymore.
So there's one, and then I have another one. I actually just pulled basically this whole thing. So in this one, she's on a rooftop in New York City, and in the background you can see the Empire State Building like the whole time. And for some reason I like the way it's set up, and I like what she says.
Well, I think there's definitely, this is like an I'm not Josie Grossi
Absolutely.
callback. Yeah, okay.
So here we go on the second one.
I just had to come out here and get something off my chest. I'm not afraid of perimenopause anymore. You should try it. You know what? You should try something else too, because I'm no longer dealing with constant mood swings or hot flashes. I'm sleeping better. I feel empowered. And I'm doing something well for myself that actually fits into my life, and I can't believe the physical results. Do you want to know why I feel so good? Well, it's all in this tiny one-a-day pill. You should try it because it is the reason I feel so good and why I'm shouting on the rooftops about it. You'll be shouting from the rooftops too, trust me.
So there we go. Drew doing her full-on just being herself.
Yelling at the top of her lungs.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think she would be saying all this if it wasn't really truly helping
Yes.
her. And I think it's cool that she's sort of been on this campaign to talk about perimenopause and menopause.
Totally.
Because it's not really out there. She's had a lot of people on her show to talk about it. So good for her. And as somebody who's in my 40s, I'm sure I'll be appreciating it before I know
Absolutely. And I think it's really cool. I did look into it just to see how much it costs out of curiosity. It's a bit price restrictive.
Yeah, it's a bit pricey.
Like I saw that it was like $70 if you just get one bottle for a month worth. I was like, okay, that's a bit much. So yes, it is like a premium product. Yes, it's like, you know, she's a privileged person, but I think they're adorable. And I hope that it is truly like something she believes in. There've been ads over the years. Like, do you remember years ago when she did the ads for that like thing that like electrically like made your abs like
that one was weird.
Really weird. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm not on board. But I'd like to believe there's some truth behind this and her results. And we've noticed like she seems like she's been like healthier, happier. We noticed some weight loss that I was like, I wonder what that's about. I hope she's like healthy, you know? And if she can attribute it to this, cool.
Power to you, Drew.
And we've spent a bit too much time on and me. Now, what else is new?
Oh, we have to talk about the birthday episode on the show, Drew's birthday episode, which they do always film like a couple days in advance, but whatever. She wore the most beautiful gown. I am like, this is one of my favorites ever for her, I think.
So stunning.
This rainbow. I don't even know how to describe the fabric because I'm not good at that stuff, but we'll give credits by Jenny Packham.
Yeah.
And of course, her stylist, Lee Harris, is the one behind this one. And also her tailor, Matthew Kilgore, did tailor it and posted a whole cool thing about how he did that.
Oh, cool.
It's like pastel rainbows. It's my dream.
It's so beautiful in the way it moves when she moves. Like, there are so many times in the episode where you get to see her, like, you know, running with it or putting her arms up, and it just like moves with her body. It's so beautiful.
It's kind of funny. I was laughing that we're talking about this on our Oscars episode, and I'm like, I would have loved if she wore this to the Oscars. Like, this is so much more exciting than some of the choices
dresses.
she actually made. Yeah.
But I know it's so gorgeous. So there are a lot of elements to these birthday shows, as there always are. It's so darling. I just want to make sure we call out how cool the shoes were that she had with that dress. Like,
the shoes are like massive. These are like Spice Girl boots.
Absolutely.
With the big
like,
platform.
Almost up to the knee. They're so cool.
Yeah.
So let's just get into a couple of the little details from the show. And so one of the things they did, I don't know what order, so I'm sorry if I'm saying these out of order, was the surprising Drew with the Weenie Mobile. And
the Oscar Mayer one.
Yep. So I am going to play a little clip of her surprise, just because I think it's really fun.
In 3, 2, 1, remove the blindfold.
I was gonna say, don't tell me it's the Oscar Mayer Mobile.
Yes, it is! We had to move mountains to make this happen.
I tried to call.
Oh, but you're driving.
Oh.
Come here, look. We brought.
So nice to meet you.
This
Happy
is
birthday.
So, yes, she literally screamed.
I mean, everything they do on the birthday episodes are legit surprises for her. There's other times on the show where I'm like, I think she might have already known this. But the birthday ones, I think, are sincerely total shocks to her, everything they do.
Yep.
And we have a whole list of all the things. This is just one of the many.
Yes.
But this was about like something that provides joy anytime people see it. Like going down the street, everyone's going to look and be excited and smile.
Yeah.
And that was like sort of thematically, you know, perfect for Drew.
Totally. Absolutely. They also had, I guess she must love this show because she went nuts. The cast of Anne Juliet, and it's a Broadway show that Drew loves.
Yeah, she's mentioned it on the show a lot lately.
Okay, cool.
So it wasn't surprising. That was really cool. Yeah, so we have to mention this. So they sang the song Roar, that's a Katy Perry song. And I guess it was written by Max Martin.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to our Hollywood Hills Home episode about Drew's house in Los Angeles that she had for 16 years and had to sell, she sold it to Max Martin. And we found this out through our friend Lindsay Blake of I Am Not a Stalker. She found this out. And it's just interesting because we are all very sad about what he's done to her house.
Yeah.
So for Drew to mention him so casually, I was like, oh my God, Drew, I can't believe like you're not mad at this guy.
Maybe he consulted with her before he made all the changes and she's fine with him.
So.
I mean,
that
Juliet thing was really cool. I loved watching. One of the things when I was talking earlier about her dress, there's a part where she's like dancing along to it and like her arms are up in the air and it's so perfect during that song. It's so cool.
So beautiful. Should we run down some of the other things that happened? What do you got next?
Yeah, so the next thing I think we should talk about is the Facts of Life reunion. So do you want to dig into that a little bit?
Yeah, it's very random. Yeah. And I don't know why Kim Fields wasn't there, but the other three girls, main girls from Facts of Life were there and reunited for Drew, which is so sweet.
So cute.
I think this explanation of why that show was important to her is really beautiful and we need to play this for everyone to hear.
This is really cool.
I love my mom and my dad. I love our dynamic. Wouldn't change a thing. But I saw myself with you guys because you were raising yourselves, you were raising each other, and Mrs. Garrett was like at the helm of that. And it made more sense to the life I was living than any other environment because it was the day and age of television, a lot on heavy family. Mm-hmm. And I didn't relate and I didn't identify. I didn't see myself there. That was not the lessons I was learning. What I was learning was to be a strong, independent female who could take care of themselves and value female friendship and know that there was someone there who was watching out for them, Mrs. Garrett. That was my life. And I wanted so badly to be with you guys, and you gave me a blueprint that made my life feel better to me in every sense of the word.
Oh.
Drew really does have a way with words,
So sweet.
doesn't she?
I know. And you can just imagine, like, the sitcom family was something she could never relate to or identify with. And she always felt like, you know, she was missing that.
Totally.
And when she explained that that's why that show meant a lot to her, it was just like, oh,
I know, it made so much
makes
sense.
perfect
Like,
sense.
nothing she said was surprising. I just didn't know it, you know?
yeah. She also mentioned that the character of Joe on that show was a big inspiration for Dylan and for Charlie's Angels, and she really pulled from her, which I thought was
I
great.
wish I knew that reference well, because I've never seen the show
Okay.
Facts of Life, but I love
She's
that.
like the tomboy of the group,
Okay,
we'll say that.
I had to kind
Yeah.
of imagine that was the case, you know, just
Yeah.
based on that.
Kind of the rock and roll tomboy.
Yes.
And then they also gave her a vest at the end that looked like the ones they wore for their uniform on the show,
That was,
which was
so
sweet.
cute. And then a couple more little surprises they gave her. So Van Leeuwen ice cream, which is really delicious, like
Ooh, I've never had
specialty
it.
made ice cream. The flavors are always incredible. They made one for Drew's birthday called Drew Barrymore cheesecake, and it's like a raspberry swirl cheesecake. Like,
Oh, it sounded so good. I want it.
I know, I want it so bad. It doesn't seem like they're actually producing it. Which,
I don't think so.
come on.
I know. I looked into it.
Come on. But it was brought out by her birthday twin, Rachel Dratch, who came on a previous episode for her birthday as well, right?
Yeah, this may be the third year in a row that they've had her come on the birthday episode. It's so
love
sweet.
that.
She's also a 222 baby, and so fun. And I had just seen her. Remember, I told you when I saw Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, they did a weekend update segment, and surprise guest Rachel Dratch came out as Debbie Downer, and it was so cool
That
and funny.
is
So anyway, I was like, oh,
so,
it's extra fun to see her.
So cool. Just a couple more little things. So Carol Burnett sent in a birthday message to Drew. It was brief, but so sweet. And Drew was so touched coming from such a like iconic comedian as Carol Burnett. She was like mouth agape for like several seconds.
I know. I think she even said, like, I'm gonna go watch that like 50 more times after this.
She sure did. And then our final little surprise, they didn't acknowledge the existence of
Oh my god, I forgot.
Okay, so
let's back up.
Yeah, so do you want to introduce what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So Jimmy Fallon sent in a video message, happy birthday, Syl, and all that stuff.
Yep.
But he announced that Madame Tussauds is doing a wax figure of Drew.
Yes.
But you just blew my mind here.
There already is a wax figure of Drew. So I don't know if this like doesn't exist anymore. I didn't look, but I was like, wait, there is one. And I was like, okay, maybe it's a different, not Madame Tussauds. Maybe it's something else.
Yeah.
It's straight up Madame Tussauds. So in 2008.
But it was in London.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are like other locations. So the London Madame Tussauds has a wax figure of Drew and one of Cameron, and they're like in the makeup chair. I'm imagining that this new one will be like talk show Drew. But they didn't say
yeah,
where.
I totally visualized that too. And also, I think maybe one of the differences is this one was kind of just made, but I think the one she's getting for her birthday, she will be involved with, and they'll do the like full-on measurements of her face and all that stuff. That was my intuition. I just want to know where it's going to be because we have one in Las Vegas.
Ooh.
I would love if they brought it over here.
Come on, Drew.
At least see her in some form here. No?
But yes, they were showing like other people who've gotten those wax figures that are from like a scan. And I thought that too, because I think that the one they revealed in 2008 is kind of creepy. I mean,
yeah, it's a little uncanny valley.
Yeah.
I mean, they always are.
Yeah, they always are.
Sometimes they're dead on.
Yeah.
Oh, and it was fun. They had one. They had some examples there, and they had a Steven Spielberg one.
That was really cute.
Cute.
What's really funny actually is when I saw, because I hadn't watched the episode, but I'd seen a lot of photos from the birthday episode.
Yeah.
And I saw the Harry Styles in
Yes.
the background, and I was like, oh, somene's
Me
dressed
too.
as Harry Styles.
Yep.
In
That's
his
exactly what I
outfit.
thought.
Oh my God.
Yep.
And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, it makes so much more sense.
Exactly my journey. That's exactly what I went through.
I love that we both had that thought. But yes, but they don't acknowledge that there already is a wax figure, but I think you're right. It's like
I totally forgot. I was thinking about there used to be one at it was called like the Hollywood wax museum.
Yeah.
And they had one of Drew. That one was real iffy looking.
I think I saw pictures when I Googled it, and I didn't want to acknowledge that one beyond just looking at it because it was quite scary.
Yeah, it was like a Charlie's Angels setup.
And it had like a pretty bad wig.
Yeah. We can share pictures of all of those.
Yes.
Howdy, Droobies. We want to tell you about our sponsor, Positive Medium. We've actually been clients of theirs for at least 10 years, and they take care of all of our website needs for thedruseum.com.
They offer custom web design and professional coding, search engine optimization, marketing, and hosting. So we've been hosted by them, but we've also been able to take advantage of a lot of their expertise in these other areas as well.
Absolutely. So customer service is the biggest draw for us with this company. They have saved our site literally from obliteration quite a few times. But then they also help us with minor issues in just like literally a matter of minutes. So if we have like a coding question or just like something on the back end we can't figure out, we reach out to them and we get an answer back and the issue is solved within moments.
We're so excited that Positive Medium is allowing us to offer our listeners 25% off managed WordPress hosting plans using our promo code DREW, D-R-E-W, of course. And if you want to take advantage of this, visit positivemedium.com. We really, really vouch for these people. They've been so great to us and will continue to be great to us. I can only imagine.
I mean, they're great by offering this to our listeners. So take advantage. Again, it's promo code DREW, of course.
Are we ready to get into our weekly topic?
Ooh, let's do it.
Let's let this just bring us in. All right, everybody. If you can hear the little background music.
Hooray for Hollywood, because we're talking about the Academy Awards.
Mm-hmm.
It's Oscars week. Yeah. So we wanted to sort of talk about Drew's relationship with the Oscars. She did recently confirm that she is a member of the Academy, which I think we've always wondered.
Yes, and I was curious, kind of relatedly. I was like, okay, how do people get invited? Because like, I don't think you have to be a member to go, but you have to be invited to go, you know?
Yeah, usually like you're a nominee or presenter, but there's definitely some others that get in there somehow. And we'll talk about that.
And the only thing I was able to find is that like there's a board that decides who gets invited. So beyond that, I don't really know, but interesting. Before we get into Drew's direct Academy Award stuff, let's take a step back in time a little bit again. Way back.
Love it.
So I wanted to just talk a little bit about Drew's ancestors and their Academy Awards relations. So we know that she has a very She has a very famous acting family who she didn't meet. So it's also that thing where she feels connected to these people and never met these people. So Drew's great uncle, Lionel Barrymore, was nominated for Best Director for Madam X in 1930. Didn't even know he directed.
I thought that same. I was blown away by that information. I thought that was so cool.
Totally cool. And then he did win Best Actor for a movie called A Free Soul in 1932.
Love it.
Yeah, and then we have Drew's great aunt, Ethel Barrymore, who was nominated for Best Supporting Actress 4 times and won for None But the Lonely Heart in 1945. And I kind of looked to see the span of time, like between like 1940 and 1950, she had like 5 total nominations. So I was like, wow.
Amazing.
I know.
And it's crazy that her grandfather, John Barrymore, was never nominated.
I know. I found that interesting.
In any capacity.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, same with our girl, Drew.
But let's talk about if there are any of Drew's movies that have gotten recognition in this, in the Academy Awards.
Not many.
Yes, she doesn't tend to be in movies that get this kind of recognition.
I know. I mean, if Grey Gardens had a theatrical release, it probably would have, because that was a big awards show winner, but
yep.
So E.T. was nominated for a lot of awards. We're not even going to go through the list. There's too many. They won for Best Sound, and they also won for Best Effects and Visual Effects and Sound Effects Editing, which is cool. But I feel like it should have gotten more.
Yeah, so all effects stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, there were high hopes.
And that's John Williams' score.
Won Best Original Score.
Of course. It's like iconic for the Oscars.
The only other movie that I could find that ever got any sort of nomination, and this is kind of a random one, was Batman Forever, which got nominations for cinematography, sound, and sound effects editing. So again, kind of the same.
Kind of like background stuff.
Yeah.
I know there were a lot, like you said, E.T. was nominated for a lot of stuff, and I know that one of them was Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
But alas, he did not win.
No.
But the purpose of this whole episode, we're kind of getting there, is to talk about all of the times that Miss Drew Barrymore attended the ceremonies and walked the red carpet. So we're going to start at the 55th Annual Academy Awards.
All right. So April 11th, 1983. So this is when E.T. had all the nominations. So Drew was there in support of the film. And she attended with her mother, Jade. She wore a very fancy layered pink dress, I think was from Bonnie's Wee Shop. I'm pretty sure. And this white faux fur stole. And then she had on pearls that were given to her by Steven Spielberg, which is so sweet.
Steven Spielberg gave me.
I'm going to go ahead and play a little clip of her on the red carpet because it's too darling.
Your movie's up for an Academy Award. What do you think about it?
I don't know if he will win, but I'm hoping so much.
What about for Steven?
I just hope he wins that award.
Did you vote for him?
Yes.
Did you vote for the movie too?
Yep.
What about for Best Actress?
I'm not nominated.
Also, I have a feeling she was not a member of the Academy and could vote at that time. She's like, yeah, sure. That sounds right.
Yes. I shouldn't say no to that. I shouldn't say, what do you mean?
Right. Drew had said later on, she said, my mom, she was a single working mom. We didn't make a ton of money off ET. We bought the dress off the rack, and that was the look.
Yep, and it's adorable. Yes, it's that birthday cake layer, like we said before.
That way. Yep.
I feel like we have to point out that both Drew and her mother Jade are wearing like white stoles. So they both have this like matching sort of vibe. Yes. And you can see that Jade got all glammed up as well.
Of course.
So in the February 2018 issue of In Style magazine, they did a bunch of recreations of like young Drew, either photo shoots or like outfits that she wore. And they recreated sort of like an homage to the 1983 Oscars look. Drew's wearing this like puffy tulle skirt and like a very fluffy, again, white stole. And it's so really cute. Yes. I love that shoot. I kind of like forgot about it until I stumbled across this again.
And then whenever I look at it, I'm like, this was such a great idea. This is so sweet.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's jump to the 61st Academy Awards.
All right. So March 29th, 1989. And Drew attended with Corey Feldman. I don't know why he was invited. Maybe he was a presenter. I actually didn't look into it, but she was his date. They were kind of connecting at that time. And there are some crazy pictures of her at her house, like before she went, smoking.
Like this one?
Yeah. I'm sorry. How old is she here? She had just turned
14.
14. What the hell? Like she's Mila's age.
I know. I was like going through these pictures with my partner and he's like, oh yeah, Drew, she's like 17 there. And I was like, she's 14. But she looks like 17, 18, 19, like easily.
Wild.
She just, she has this face that could be any age,
True. So she wore a Betsy Johnson dress, which is fun. And it's kind of funny because it has like roses on it. Very similar to how she wears a Betsy Johnson dress in The Wedding Singer with little rose attachments on it. Kind of weird.
That's a good point. There also was a really neat interview that you dug up that I wanted to play because it's neat that this interviewer subtly kind of asks about, Drew's
troubles.
What's been going on in her life. Yes. So let's listen to this.
You've come out so publicly with what you've been going through, and you've got a lot of support from fans and the public.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that. It makes me feel very good, and like I don't have to keep any more secrets, and I don't have to be undercover about what I've done, and it feels very relieving that people have responded as well as they did, and it supports me a lot, and it keeps me on a good ground.
Aww.
There's also a little clip of Drew talking to her date Corey Feldman on the Drew Barrymore show in 2023, and they just chat about this briefly. So here's a fun little tidbit.
Do you remember going to like the Academy Awards together? I remember you were going, and so I was lucky enough to be your date. And I just threw on like a cotton Betsy Johnson dress off the rack. And I remember looking around and thinking, oh, I'm very underdressed. I'm wearing a cotton Betsy Johnson dress. Whoops.
Whoopsies.
It's also funny in that clip, I didn't put this part in there, but he's like, oh yeah, I'm wearing my jacket with all the safety pins on it. That's not the one he's wearing, but I feel like there was a different event that they maybe went to. Yeah, where they went to
that
a
was
few
a thing he
together.
did a lot.
Totally. He had like a kind of pseudo Michael Jackson inspired thing
Big
going
time.
on for sure. But also, let's just point out, so between 1983 and 1989, she didn't attend between those years. So
yeah, which makes a little sense.
It does.
For that time, yeah.
9 years later, feels like way more, the 70th Academy Awards.
Yeah, March 23rd, 1998. Maybe her most classic Oscars look, I would say. She was there to present the Best Achievement in Makeup Award.
Good evening. I am honored to say that for 4 generations, Barrymores have been embraced by one of our theater's most subtle arts, makeup. Today, we who appear on camera are indebted to those artists who make us look better or worse, as the role demands. So here are the nominees for the Best Achievement in Makeup this year. And the Oscar goes to David Leroy Anderson and Rick Baker for Men in Black.
Drew attended with Nancy Javonin that year, which is funny because she was dating Luke Wilson, so I don't know why he didn't go with her. Maybe he had something else going on.
Maybe he was filming.
But this look is one of the most iconic red carpet looks she's ever had, I would say.
As we've talked about, we both started collecting this year. So I was not really a big fan until later in 98, but I feel like a lot of the initial stuff I got was like her with this look or like this timeline. So I have such
this
nostalgia.
This was printed in a lot of magazines.
Yes, absolutely. So it's like classic big flowers.
I do grow daisies. Unfortunately, the ones I grow are yellow. I wanted to wear white tonight.
Glitter all over her body.
I do want to mention, because I couldn't find it again in my research, but somewhere along the line, I know she had said that she wore soil or dirt in her shoes so she would stay grounded that night.
I would not be surprised at all. So I've got one clip from Entertainment Tonight in 2023.
Drew, you got to tell us about this one. Look at this photo.
Oh, that look.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
How did that come about? I love this.
Well, actually, I went and got real daisies from a store, like a grocery store, because I was looking for, just some daisies.
They're very. This look at a grocery store, these flowers? Like you just swung through and just picked them up on the way there?
And then I got a can of body glitter out of like a beauty supply store and sprayed my entire self down, kind of like a drag queen. And you don't have to spend all the money. You don't have to present. You should be yourself. And that's really who I was at that time in my life, was someone who wore daisies in her hair. And I thought, why pretend to be someone else at the Oscars? Just do you.
Oh my gosh, I could hear these stories all day long. I live for this.
I love it so much.
Well, the cool thing is she had said something really similar to Allure magazine in 2002, where she said, as far as the flowers in my hair and the glitter all over, okay, I realize that it's the Academy Awards, but you still have to be yourself.
Yes. I love that's that's how she felt then. She's still holds strong to the same feeling. It says Joan Rivers, had a fucking field day. I do like that she acknowledges too, yeah, like, it's me. I'm not going to be somebody
Yeah.
else just because there are people like Joan Rivers who are going to make fun of her about it, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
It's so great.
One other kind of more recent thing she said about it to Elle magazine was, I didn't feel very confident with this haircut, but now looking back on it, I love it. This was before there was so much scrutiny about everybody's hair, makeup, and wardrobe, and I thought I should just wear what I wore in normal life to the Academy Awards again.
Yep.
So I picked up some Marguerite daisies from the bodega and put on a ton of body glitter. I'm also a huge fan of a brick red lip because it really warms up your face. But then she said, I could only imagine what people would have said about this look today. I don't know. I think it would hold up.
It's beautiful. I think it really worked beautifully.
Even though the dress is very basic
Yeah.
and it's just black and has the low back, which is fun, but it's a little sparkly, but there's not much to it. The dress I wouldn't normally say is my favorite. It's really more about the shoulders up, I guess.
Yeah. But it's such a classic look. Like, I think you already said,
It
it's
works.
like it probably is the most iconic out of all the ones we're going to
Yeah.
talk about. Are we ready to get into the 71st Academy Awards? So shortest distance between one to another.
The right next year,
Yeah.
March 21st, 1999. And this is the one I really remember in real time because I was watching, I don't think we did know she was going to be there. Okay, because she's there as Edward Norton's date. So he was
Yes.
nominated for Best Actor for American History X,
Mhm.
and Drew came with him. The crazy thing is that this was the day after she hosted SNL in New York.
Yes.
So New York, nighttime, hosting SNL, flies to LA the next day in the afternoon, is at the Oscars.
Absolutely. It's kind of nuts. And we have a little clip that'll talk about in a minute because she talked about it on Rosie. We got to talk about the fact that this Liv Tyler kiss. So Drew just
It's so silly.
pecked Liv Tyler. Like, it looks like they're posing and playing it up.
Like
and
a peck hello.
Yes. And it just got turned into such a all over magazines and all over lesbian kisses on the red carpet. I mean, I don't even know what the captions would say, but it was so homophobic.
It was along those lines on the tabloids. Yeah, so dumb.
Yes, and we didn't really talk about the look much, but she's got this velvety maroon dress that really reads as black in most of the pictures that you see. I forgot it was maroony. And then this shiny wrap that she's kind of wearing, it just looks like a long lame piece of fabric.
Whatever.
Yep.
But she has that amazing bracelet on. It's a lily, but it also kind of looks like a starfish. And we've always been under the impression that this is the one she wore in her hair the next year at the Charlie's Angels Los Angeles premiere. But I was looking at pictures and it looks very gold at the Oscars. And then the one at Charlie's Angels has more of a silvery blue look. So I don't know if she had two or what.
It does look very similar, but maybe on the episode page we'll do a side-by-side for this because they are very, very similar.
It's the same bracelet in two different colors, I think.
Yeah, it looks very similar. And like you said, it's in her hair in one and on her arm in another. So the way the light hits it could be totally different.
I did always just love how sweet she looks here, though. I think watching it live is part of it. I just remember being so excited.
Yeah.
This was the peak of my really getting into her. So it was a good time.
And when did you become a big Edward Norton fan? Were you already a big fan of him at this time?
I think because of his appearance on SNL and because of this, I started getting interested in him.
Okay.
And then I specifically went to see Fight Club later that year because of him. So
very
this
cool.
was the beginning.
Yes. So let's watch a little bit of that Rosie appearance where Rosie points out that thing you're talking about, that she was on SNL. And then she talks a little bit about the day at the Oscars. So it's a fun little tidbit. So here we go.
Silly, you're so cute, you're gorgeous. You don't think you're pretty? You're very pretty, Drew.
Really?
Did you see yourself at the Oscars?
No, because I always see from my eyes out, so.
Well, look, shocking, we have a photo. Now you can see from your eyes in. There you are, and not only this, you're adorable, come on. But you did Saturday Night Live. I'm watching you live on Saturday Night Live in bed. The next day, a few hours later, I'm watching the people arrive at the Oscars in LA, What was the deal with that?
It was crazy. My best friend Edward Norton was nominated, and so he asked me to go with him, which was so nice. Like, he's my best friend. He takes me on the greatest dates in the world. You know, we had so much fun, and it was nice because I just wanted to be the best date I could for him. You know.
Did you deliver?
I hope so.
You think?
I kept him laughing all night.
It's really cute, and then they kind of like talk about how there was like speculation, are they dating? And she's like, that's so funny.
You still see that in lists of people she dated.
Yep.
It's so silly.
Yep. Totally. So I think whether or not we want to move on, are we ready for the 72nd?
This is when we were so spoiled. 3 years in a row.
I know, 3 years in a row after like gaps. I mean, obviously we came into the fold in like 98.
Yeah.
So we got
good timing.
Imagine.
I know. I can remember.
When we say like she was at her peak at this point, like this is kind of evidence of that she was just really there at these kind of events.
Yeah, so this was March 26, 2000. So, of course, just like we talked about with the show West, this is kind of when Charlie's Angels is being filmed. So she's got her red wavy hair. She attended with Tom Green, and she was there to present Best Costume with Cameron and Lucy for a movie called Topsy Turvy One. And we talked about this in some episode, but this happened like immediately after Tom's testicular cancer surgery.
I always forget that.
Yeah, like they didn't even think he was going to be able to go, and he's like stumbling down the red carpet, I guess, but it was really important to him to go. And then you noticed in some video clip recently that we saw that Nancy was also there, which is fun.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to see Nancy popping up in the background at these things.
Always.
You know, I'm always like trying to find like somebody pose them together. These people are partners, but you know, they've got the star face, and Nancy likes to be behind the camera, as we know.
True.
Okay, so before we get into look, because this is a really special look, I'm going to play a little clip of the Angels.
Don't we have the best job in the whole world, you girls? We're actresses. We get to go to work every day, put on costumes. Tonight we get to put on gowns.
Yep.
How many gowns did you try on, Drew?
I had this one made.
You did?
Yeah.
Ooh, girl.
Yeah. And I'll hear about it tomorrow, I'm sure.
I had this one made.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful.
Guys, thank you.
What?
Guys.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay.
Hi.
But let's talk a little bit more about this look. So,
oh my gosh,
it's so special. I hadn't really thought about before, like, what are the other outfits that she wore that showed her tattoo? And the only one I thought of immediately is the 95 Batman Forever premiere.
Totally. That might be the only other one. So this one is the lowest back she ever wore.
Yes.
Because this is fully open back, a long black gown. It's almost got like a Morticia vibe to it.
It kind of
like,
does.
You know, long sleeve
fitting. And the sleeves have like a little bit of a slit, so they kind of have like that Addams Family vibe to them.
It was designed by the Charlie's Angels costumer, Joseph Alesi, I think is how you say it.
Okay.
Drew told Allure magazine in 2002, "We likey that dress." Joe Alesi made it for me for the Oscars. I wanted the necklace to have the feeling of the sea. I was feeling mermaidish that night. And you know what sucks? That sucker burned in the fire, and the dress too, all of it gone. So she's talking about her 2001 house fire. So I always think of that when I see this dress, like it's gone. And I guess the necklace too. The necklace, I feel like, do you love this necklace? I feel like you really like this one.
I do really like it. And I never really like made the mermaidy connection. But now that you say like Morticia, you know, hers is kind of like a black mermaid outfit. So there we go. There's the connection. It is heartbreaking that this is one of the things that was lost. Obviously, she lost many, many things. But anytime it comes up, it's just like, for the archivists and us, it's like, no, I can't preserve it now. Like, it's literally gone. I think we also have a clip of her talking about this look. Yeah, it's just beautiful. One other thing that we didn't note, but I feel like we know that Drew says that her back is one of her favorite features, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
So I love like that this and like the 1998, she's like really featuring that. Like it's really cool. So let's hear a brief clip about the look.
God, I loved that dress so much. It was actually made for me, and it had a little tiny piece of monofilament holding the back up so that the whole dress didn't just fall off. We tailored it to go right below my angel tattoo and above the crack, as they say. And I didn't even do my hair I just sort of wore my hair as it normally kind of functioned. Tom Green was my date, and we were there to present as the 3 Charlie's Angels.
Of course.
Which meant so much to me.
So sweet. I love just hearing her talk about these looks like years later.
I know.
There's something so fun about that always.
I love in your research that you had like a bunch of examples. Like that was really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we know that Drew is like, you know, she's involved in her looks. And I think this next one, there's something in the discussion about the look that I hadn't really thought about, like how involved she is. But let's get into the 77th. So now we had a 5-year jump. And this is the final one we're going to cover. Breaks my heart.
Insane. February 27th, 2005. So it's been 19 years since she's attended.
Too many.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, she was there to introduce the performance of one of the Best Original Song nominations. I'm not even going to try to say the French version, but the English version is Look to Your Path. And she once again attended with Nancy Javonin.
Here is a little clip of her actually introducing that, and then we'll talk about the look a little bit more.
Our first nomination in the category Original Song is from The Chorus, a lovely and inspiring film about a group of unruly orphans and delinquents whose lives are changed through singing. The nominated song from the film is entitled Look to Your Path, and the English translation suggests that there is a golden light that always shines at the end of the path. It was written by Bruno Coulet and Christophe Baratier and will be sung in French this evening by the beautiful Beyoncé and the American Boy Choir.
I realize I meant to say that there's a certain cadence that she puts on. Yes. And I was going to say when we did the 98 one that she feels very like she's talking in like Danielle de Barbarac voice.
Yes.
Right?
I hear it. I totally hear it.
You know, not that long ago had finished Ever After, was like used to kind of doing that like proper thing. And in this, she like puts on, like a certain
formality.
Yes, like yeah, very much so. This is a very beautiful look. I don't know how do you feel about it?
Not my fave.
Okay. I thought that it was kind of a little boring to you.
Yeah.
When she describes it in this clip I'll play in a second, I'm like, all those things translated to me.
Agreed. This was an era where she was like being seen as like a fancy woman. Like it reminds me of when Jonathan Van Meter told us that he met with her in 2006 to interview her again. And she all of a sudden was like designer gowns and just like more like a grown-up woman.
Yeah.
So it kind of tracks with that.
Let's hear her talk about this a little bit. And this is with People magazine in 2022.
Oh, these Oscars in 2005, I really wanted to wear a serious dress. I wanted serious hair. I wanted an updo. I always had mood boards, and for some reason, this night I was trying to channel like more Elizabeth Taylor, more Ava Gabor. I usually went for like a more bedroomy, sexy character a lot on the red carpet. But for some reason this time I was like, I would like to prove like a 50s classic woman.
Yeah, so and that translates. So, but I also like this is the first time that it's like a curated look. You know, because she was saying like 1998, she just like kind of threw a thing on. 2000, she just had her regular hair. It looks totally. Would they still have been filming Charlie's Angels?
Yes.
Yes. So it looks like she came off the set. Like it has that that kind of like wave, but it's like a very intentional wave.
I think the hair in 2005 is probably the part I don't really like. Because I think that the dark smoky makeup is actually pretty fun. And the dress is beautiful. I don't know. It just like, maybe it just doesn't really read as Drew to me.
You love her as a blonde.
Well, that's true too.
I mean, so for her to have hair that's like so dark brown at this point, you know?
Yeah. USA Today had reported after fulfilling her red carpet duties at this year's Oscars, she hung out by the bar and drank beer with her friend and producing partner, Nancy Javonin, and headed home before the after party started.
That is great.
Yeah, she's not really the type to go to like all the Hollywood parties, but you know, she's also Hollywood royalty, so she probably really likes attending these things.
Yeah, and that's a good point because we don't really have like pictures of her at the parties. Like they're all red carpet and stuff like that. So that tracks. Okay, so the final thing we'll discuss before ending this episode are the Drew Barrymore show doing like sort of celebrations of the Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the closest we've gotten to her doing anything red carpet Oscars related.
Yes.
She wore 2 beautiful dresses. 2022, she had a really pretty red dress with some big poofy sleeves.
Mhm.
And then 2023, even bigger sleeves, bigger dress, but like a dark yellow. And yeah, it's just, I love seeing our girl all dressed up in glam.
Me too. And obviously the reason we're doing this right now, it's award season. We're right in it. The Oscars, I think, are Sunday?
They're going to be on Sunday. Yep, after this episode airs.
So it's coming up, and I'm guessing there will be an episode of the show. So maybe our next episode will be a follow-up of what they do on the Drew Barrymore show.
I hope so. Maybe she'll even shock us and attend. Haha, I doubt
Oh
it.
my God. We are just working on manifesting that right now.
Well, we do those things. It can happen.
we do, as you said, do.
Yes,
there's
we do.
one last thing I have to say about this. If you're looking at the slideshow and you're here with us, what does red and yellow remind you of?
I don't know. Ketchup and mustard? Yep. That's a fun little bonus to throw in there.
And we were just talking about hot dogs earlier. Drew.
It's all connected. She's the weenie mobile.
Little did she know that she is a walking weenie mobile.
She does bring joy to people wherever she goes. It tracks.
Yes, she does.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you for tuning in and enjoying that fun little look back at Drew and the Oscars over the years. We hope we have more to update on that sometime this year, next year. Maybe she'll do a dramatic film in the future and we'll see her pick up a statue finally. But I hope you enjoyed it. And of course, any ratings or reviews, if you guys have never done that on your platform that you listen, like Spotify or Apple, hey, take a second and do that for us. We would really appreciate it. We'd
like some awards from our audience.
Yeah, there you go. Go give us an Oscar nomination that way. And then make sure you're following us on Instagram at How Do You Drew Pod. That's where you get updates on the podcast itself. Like when we don't have an episode, you'll find out why. And also at Drewsium for more Drew content.
Yes. And while you're on the internet, I've mentioned the episode page a couple times. Make sure you visit our website at howdoyoudrew.com, hosted on the OG The Drewsium. Make sure you sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/howdoyoudrew. And don't forget to send listener mail to howdoyoudrewpod@gmail.com. And we'll see you next Tuesday, everybody.
Okay, sounds good. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. This episode of the How Do You Drew podcast was researched and produced by Ashley and Ann from thedrewsium.com with help from our sponsor, Positive Medium.
Special thanks to Matt Costa for our lovely theme song, Roxy Prima for our adorable logo, and last but not least, Drew Barrymore and all the Drewbies who love her. We do this for you.
Thank you.